Hey guys! Today I wanted to share with you some of the ways that I used when I was learning Japanese. I get a lot of comments from you guys saying that you don't have Japanese classes in your high school or that you can't afford to take Japanese classes anywhere else, so you're wondering my advice for learning Japanese. Well, I was lucky enough to go to Japanese classes in high school and university, but honestly most of my Japanese was not learned from there. Most of it came from real life experiences, talking to Japanese people, listening to Japanese music, playing Japanese video games. I kind of just picked it all up from there, and I thought that that was a way more interesting and fun way to learn, honestly. I'm not much of a using a book to study kind of person. So school was great for learning the alphabet. We had drills every day to remember hiragana and katakana, and we had listening drills. So I picked up some skills, the basic skills from there. But really to learn phrases and everyday useful Japanese, it's a lot more important to get yourself involved in some real life experiences outside of the classroom. So I'm going to teach you some of the things that I used, and hopefully these will work for you. Probably the first method that I used to study Japanese was music. And I wasn't really consciously studying Japanese, I just love Japanese music. So I spent lots of time listening to it and reading the lyrics along with it while I listened to it. And honestly, this was a really great way to learn new words because I wanted to understand the lyrics, I wanted to know what they were saying. So when I didn't understand something, I'd look it up in my dictionary or online and write little notes in the lyrics. I would always print them out and have them with me. And that was a really fun way to learn some new words while you're just listening to the music that you like. And even if you're not actively studying, looking at the lyrics, you can just listen to the music on the bus, on the train, whatever, and it'll get stuck in your head and eventually you'll be able to say some of those things. So yeah, music is probably my #1 recommendation. A couple of the bands that I really liked were jyu-ku. Jyu-ku is a really cool group that is unfortunately no longer together anymore, but maybe check out some of their songs, you might be able to learn something from there. I also really like RADWIMPS and Yuzu. There are so many groups for me to name. I'll probably have to make a separate video about that. But yeah, maybe check out those 3 and see what you think of them. See if you can find some songs you like. #2 would be watching Japanese movies or TV shows. Luckily we have YouTube now where you can watch tons of Japanese shows. Comedy shows are probably what I used to watch the most. And what's great about Japanese TV is that it comes with Japanese subtitles. So while you're watching the show, read the subtitles so you can kind of follow along with what you're hearing and seeing. And I think that's a great way to learn new kanji. One of the programs I recommend the most is Gaki no Tsukai. I think many of you know this show. It's hilarious. I'll see if I can find some links and link them in the description box for you. And Japanese movies, I love Japanese movies, especially horror movies. I just love horror movies in general, but Japanese horror has a really different feeling than Western horror, I would say, and I really like it. It's more creepy as opposed to gory, in-your-face scary. Some of my favorite Japanese horror movies would have to be The Ring and Ju-on. Those are like the basic ones, I know, but if you haven't seen the original Japanese versions, definitely do so. But for movies, I guess when you're starting out, it's okay to watch it in Japanese with the English subtitles just so you can get an idea of what's going on in the story. And then once you've kind of gotten that down, I would recommend watching it again with the Japanese subtitles and the Japanese voice. So again, you're hearing the Japanese and you're seeing the Japanese, and that's a great way to pick up kanji and learn new vocabulary. And when you hear something and you see it and you don't understand it, take a note and look it up in your dictionary. Even if you can just learn a few words every time you watch the movie, that's a start, right? Eventually, once you see the movie enough, hopefully it's a movie you like so that you want to watch it over and over again, but once you've seen it enough, you'll probably be able to understand it without any subtitles whatsoever. One of my favorite movies that I've seen probably over 20 times now is Zatoichi. Maybe look it up if you're into sword fighting and all that awesome stuff. I totally recommend it. And lastly is using SNS sites like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that, and finding Japanese people to become friends with. It might seem kind of awkward to just message someone out of the blue and say you want to be friends, but there are tons of Japanese people online that would probably want to chat with you because they want to learn English and you want to learn Japanese. So see if you can get kind of a language exchange relationship going on there. If you don't have Japanese people in your area to hang out with, meeting them online is always a cool option. Same goes for Instagram, maybe searching a hashtag for, say, if you like cars, hashtag skyline in katakana. and then some posts will come up, hopefully by Japanese people, if it's tagged in Japanese, and maybe you can start following them, and when they post something, it will have a Japanese comment that they wrote, and you can kind of pick up some words from there. And if they're posting stuff that's to do with your interests, it's interesting, right? It's a lot better than studying out of a textbook. But really, it's up to you guys. These methods of studying aren't exactly studying, so you need to be actively participating and writing down the words when you don't understand them and looking them up. But I think if you use things like this to assist you in your studying, it's going to be a lot more fun than just studying out of a textbook, at least for people like me anyways. I'm sure there's lots of you that like using textbooks, and in that case I recommend the GENKI series, which I've heard is really good. I haven't used it myself, but all my friends say it's awesome, so maybe check that out. Alright, I hope that was helpful for you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye!